Hey everyone, I'm Christine DeMayo.
And I'm Rick Sanders. Welcome to Gigging Solo. Christine, what's been going on for you?
Everything. Everything.
You did tell me a bit about that.
So, real quick, let's see. I'll try to give you the not super long version. I have been playing so many gigs, and a lot of them have been band gigs. I played with my band past weekend over at the casino, where we're called Luna Jams, and it was so freaking fun. Man, we just realized that we've actually been, technically we've been a band for 4 years now, but we had a sabbatical where we took a year off or whatever, and we didn't play any gigs, and we weren't really a band. We were we thought we were broken up. And then the lead singer and he calls me and he's like, you and I are Luna Jams, right? And I was like, you know what? You darn right we are. And he's like, why don't we just hire some subs to play for us? We'll get, and just, we'll try to use the same guys every time. And we'll just do what we want to do. And so that's what we did. And we hired usually the same two sets of subs. And one of them is our buddies, Shannon Sabatini. I'm going to give him a shout out. Great bass player. And then Mike Lovelady, awesome drummer, phenomenal. He's recorded for me on a couple of my EPs and things like that.
Cool. Just
super great drummer. And then recently, if this guy is in town because he plays with another band that travels and is kind of up and coming, Brian Batterton plays bass for us, monster bass player, so good. And then Daniel, man, no offense to Mayday, because it's been fun playing with Mayday, but one of the best things that has come out of Mayday is Daniel LaRue on the drums. I'm playing with him in a duo, and now I'm like, hey, if I need a sub player, Daniel already knows almost all my songs.
Yeah.
So literally, I got to have Daniel on the drums this past weekend and Brian on the bass. And we just had, as solo artists, it's a little harder to get a dance crowd. All the things have to be kind of right in the universe. But as a band, oh man, we had a packed dance floor both nights, from literally the time we'd started to the time we'd get back on stage, and then we ended at 1 a.m. just all night long. Dance floor was full. Lots of requests, and everybody just had so much fun. And unfortunately, there are a few people that will come out and see me play specifically when I play with a band because they like the change up, but they also like to be called the tequila fairy, and they will bring shots of tequila for the band, and it's I usually don't drink, when I play too much. But when it comes to the band stuff, I'm kind of I'm going to cut loose a little bit. Not all the weight is on my shoulders. These guys have to play well too, Is
that is that your personal version of the Band-Aids? Is that a callback to a previous episode?
No, I wouldn't call them a Band-Aid, but they just like to drop off little shots of tequila. So, I'm okay with it. I don't really care for tequila, but it gets the job done, so
it gets a job done. That's for sure.
Yeah, it gets a job done, and I sure do have a good time when I have a shot of tequila. So, we just we played, and it's just such a different experience playing with a band versus playing solo. I get to I feel almost the best way I can describe it is a dog that's let off the chain, I get to just friggin' be free and run around. My main job is literally playing guitar, and I sing, quite a few of the songs, but I don't have to live loop anything. So for me, it's way less energy and way less thought goes into what I do, because I'm just doing these songs that I already know. So it's a lot of fun. I had a good time doing that.
Obviously we both love looping, and but I will say, there's one stage I play on where the stage is huge, and I'm wireless. I should wander around the stage, but it's if I don't tell my bassist to stop playing, they're not going to stop playing. It's
Yeah.
a robot. I need to tell it what to do. It's just kind of the nature of the thing. If I'm asked, what's the Luna Jams? Did you name that? And is it like short for lunar? Is it like an acronym? Like what is Luna Jams come from?
There's no special meaning.
Okay.
There's no special meaning. We were all struggling to find a name, and literally, I think I just came up with a couple of words that I thought were, sounded kind of bandy, kind of cool. And then Corey's like, I don't know what to do. Let's just call ourselves Luna Jams Band. And I was like, okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not about the name. It's about, like, can we make people dance? And that is exactly what we do. And it's so fun. Like I said, it's just a totally different vibe than when I play solo. And it sucks because I really wanted to stream that gig and we tried, but I wasn't streaming with, like, when we play, we use Corey's mixer and he's got a Behringer XR 18 and I'm not familiar with it. So I was trying to get a live stream up and running with like some decent sound. It wasn't great sound, but we did it anyway. And I just told Corey and Daniel, because Daniel was like, I really want to stream this gig. I was like, we can't do that anymore. Like unless we have some time or we use my mixer to make sure that this is going to sound good. I don't want to like stream crappy audio to, YouTube. But we do have some gigs coming up. Some more local gigs coming up, and I think we are going to try to use my mixer and actually stream these gigs, because if we've been talking about doing more gigs together, like maybe once or twice a month as a band. I want to be able to stream them. I don't want my YouTube audience to just be like, "Whoa, we don't get to see Christine play this weekend at all," So I'm gonna try to work on that, but lots of stuff like that. And then also I'm going to Key West next week to play over at Sloppy Joe's. So I'll be gone, playing for like 9 days straight, and just kind of getting ready for stuff like that. What about you, man? What have you been doing?
It's funny. I think I mentioned in the last episode that our next episode recording was going to be quite quick. So it's literally yesterday. And in one day, I have completely rebuilt the way I do drums. I mentioned in the last episode that I got the Hand Sonic, and I'm really impressed with it. I mean, I think I was talking to Todd about it too. Todd is also a drummer. And I think that like pound for pound, it is like maybe the most robust piece of musical gear I own, which is wild to say. There's something about it, just like it's so high quality. It's so responsive. It really is it's ridiculous. It's a 10x like upgrade on the drum sounds that I had access to, and like doing things. I've been in a mode where my percussion has always been based on an acoustic guitar and what I can modify that sound to sound like, and now it's like I've got 100 kits, ish. Some of them are kind of similar, and some of them are super impractical that I can like flex into. So now I've got like a set that's like a rock kit, a set that's a jazz kit, a set that's an electronic kit, a set that's like a cajon kit rather, or cajon sounds, I should say.
Yeah.
And I've got congas on one as well, and that's the one that's like, I realize as I'm playing it, it's like even though it's finger drumming, like there's no faking. You are playing drum. You're playing everything. Everything kind of works out to that kind of conga cajon style thing, because that's the way you're really hitting it. But just like I tried a couple songs, I've literally spent like, in the context of looping, I don't know, 10 minutes on it today. And I'm like, wow, the two songs I tried sound better than they did before. And that's pretty awesome for having so little time practicing. So I'm very encouraged by the upside, but I'm a little overwhelmed by how quickly I'm going to have to learn. But I've always, honestly, all the major inflection points in my musical journey have been this kind of thing where I jump in the pool and we work out swimming later. That's kind of, I've done that a lot. But I will say, of all of those steps, this is an intimidating one. But the fact that like two songs I did sounded better than they did when I was hitting my maiden before, that's wild to me. That means that this is going to be I'm starting from a much better place. It's such an upgrade over what I was doing before. I was able to load in the kind of snap and clap sounds that I like from my Akai MPX8. So it's a replacement for that. So it's not like an additional thing to manage. It's an instead of thing to manage. So it's really, but yeah, I've got a lot of like, I also redid all my HX Stomp tones at least a little bit. So now I feel like I'm in a place where I can build to a better foundation. I was just in this weird in between teething place, and I already feel like a lot better about that.
Yeah, I think I was telling you earlier that I switched over from when I first started really kind of looping drum stuff, I was using a Cat Percussion drum pad. And I still do recommend this percussion pad to people that are getting started. It's a great little percussion pad. But man, switching over from that to the Octopad, I was like, holy moly, this is awesome sounding.
Yeah.
I just really love my Octopad. Now, it doesn't do, you can't load your own sounds onto it, but you can do like a MIDI connection to like a laptop. Let's just say you had the program Easy Drummer or something like that. You could actually trigger those drums off of the Roland Octopad. But I mean, I've had my Octopad now for a few years, and I've been really happy with it and haven't wanted to, swap out. The only reason why I thought about possibly swapping over to the Hansonic is so that I could do some like little fills and things like that in between, going to a chorus and, a bridge or whatever. But it's not enough for me to want to have to this sounds lazy, but I don't want to learn another piece of gear. I feel like I have been learning new gear so much this year. I'm kind of sick of it. Even right now, if you could see in my background, I've got my Pod Go on the floor because I'm trying to dial in settings for my Telecaster, and then I think I'm going to dial in a Stratocaster setting once I get done with that, so that I can just pick these guitars up and go. Like right now, I have my T5 dialed in on the Pod Go, but I don't have my Telecaster really where I want it, so I'm kind of messing with that right now. But yeah, man, the Hansonic is an awesome tool. I mean, I think I already told you this yesterday, though. In a nice way, less is more, my friend. Less is more, and keep it tidy so where you don't sound sloppy.
But Christine, if less is more, then more must be more and more.
Oh God.
No, you're first of all, you're 100% right. But I will say this is one of those rare, and I mean it rare, like rare moments where I feel like actually more has been more. Like the fact that I'm going from something that's like the Akai MPX8 is a functional piece of what it is. It's not I don't like having it be the foundation for my setup. This is like, I felt like I've been building the whole thing on a house of cards ever since I switched to the T5Z. And now it's like, oh, I'm not anymore. I've replaced the house of cards with a tank, and that is actually meaningfully better. I mean, the quality of the sounds, the quality of the response, the fact that you can, like, the volume, the velocity desensing on the thing is just like night and day. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so this is a rare case where I feel like, yes, I have to learn how the new piece of gear works. I'm giving and I took the 100 kits down to 5, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to try just kind of like gradually bringing in them, like probably, honestly, it's mostly gonna be rock drums, sometimes jazz drums, and cajon. And those are the three that are gonna be like 95% of the set. And I might experiment with the electronic kit, but I have no head for that kind of music. So I don't want to I'm not bringing on too much, basically. But but just the fact that the drum sounds, I mean, I don't know, like Fields of Gold by Sting. I played that on a gig on Saturday, and I absolutely hated the drum sounds. Hated them. It made me hate the song. Like, not retroactively, but like I'm like, this sucks. And then I tried that same song with the cajon setting, and they're like, oh my God, thank God. Like breath of fresh air. So it was like, it's a rare moment where, again, with I spent 2.5 hours last night setting it up, tuning things a little bit on headphones, trying to get some kind of semblance of like familiarity with it, and already reaping benefits from like the starting pistol, which is weird how fast that is and how much, because it's adjacent to what I was doing before. I was already kind of hand percussioning on my guitar, and now I have a much more versatile, but I'm trying to bring it in sparingly. I'm not going to try to, I think it's 11 or 13, 8, I can do this math. There's 13 pads on the thing. Plus,
broke a sweat right there, Rick.
I know, math is hard. I majored in it and I forgot all about it.
Oh my god!
But it's like 13 plus like the wave they handed the theremin style interaction you can do with it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, I'm only really using like six of those sounds. I'm not like fully bringing it in because I'm not a drummer. I don't understand how to use all that. Now I know there's room for growth. Cool. That's a tomorrow problem. For now, I'm just trying to do one for one. Like to your point of less is more. I'm trying to just get the basic. Okay, what is the kick snare analog on this kit? Okay, it looks like this. What is the kick snare analog in this kit? And that's what I'm trying to do is just like simplify the problem as much as I can with something that is so much more powerful. I'm using like 10% of what it can do. And that's good for now.
Yeah. I honestly, like with my Octopad, I've got two kits. I call one, I gave them all names. One's called a sunrise kit. And it's just kind of like, it means it's kind of punchy. And I have another one that I've been using a lot, which I call the loose kit, because the snare is kind of fat and big. It's just more of a loose sound. And then I've got my R&B kit, and then I have a cajon kit that I've got set up. And honestly, that's like all I ever use.
Yeah.
And I would say I'm more of a drummer than most.
Definitely more than me. Oh my God.
And so like really, truly, people didn't come to watch the drum show, Rick. People came to watch you like play some guitar and sing and loop some stuff.
They came to watch the gun show. I know how it is. Sorry.
I mean, whatever. Well, like it's true though. Like what I used to have a teacher that used to say, something stupid. It was like, don't pet the sweaty things and don't sweat the petty things.
Yes.
And then there's also that saying of like, let's not major on the minors here. And truly, like, let's not forget that you're making a song. This is not a drum song, Rick. This is a song. Like, you're going to make it all come together,
Right.
And I think that's something that a lot of musicians like get kind of stuck on, is like they obsess about this one little thing that really, truly, like, your audience just does not give a crap, And they're like, move on already, man. Let's get to the song already. So that's just my opinion. But I'm glad you got the Hansonic, and I can't wait to actually hear you play that thing.
Yeah, no, and what I need to do now, and this is a head game thing. Is like don't pet the sweaty things. Is I need to recognize that I am at best a fake drummer. I mean, I'm way more so than you are. You're a lot better than you give yourself credit for, I think. But like the fact that I'm able to, like for instance, I can watch like Matt Bolton or Nullabye, for instance, like people I know who use this thing in their shows, and they have a much better understanding of drums and how they fit into a song. I don't, and like I look at the cymbals as if they're alien technology. I just don't know when to use them, and so I mean that's okay for now. I do want to, but I'm at some point I'm putting on the table. I want to grow in that direction. But for now, all I want to do is make it sound like I have a good foundation for what I'm doing. So it's totally. It's not embarrassing. I don't want to make it seem like, and I was, honestly, it's funny because when you do what we do, the looping, you can get away with a lot before people have any idea how hackish it can sound, because it's so magic. You're doing all this, you're doing all the things. But honestly, I felt a little embarrassed about a couple of my recent performances in terms of the quality of the percussion. I'm like, this sucks. I don't like this. And so I was doing things like just like string slaps and stuff like that, because I just needed texture that I felt like any kind of good about.
And that, Rick, is what makes you a quality musician.
Hopefully.
And, that would actually bring me to leading us into the topic of the day, which is we're going to talk about a guide to venues, attracting great talent.
Yeah, so musicians, you've been listening all this far. We're not talking to you.
Yeah, we're not talking to you.
We're talking to the people that hire you.
In fact, I don't know why any of you are even listening. No, I'm just kidding.
Today of all days, that is a terrible thing to say for reasons that we'll at some point talk about.
No, but this is gonna be useful actually for venues and us musicians actually. So let's just dive right into it. What do you think, Rick?
I think so. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun topic. Yeah, because it's really about I mean, I'm doing booking right now, right? And this is somewhere where this idea comes from. It's like, what is it to be a good venue? Like, I have my own power ranking, if you will, of places I play. what is it about those places that makes me want to play there? So why don't you start us off, Christine?
Well, I can tell you right now, one of the number one things that I would say makes me want to play at a place once either A, they've contacted me, or B, I've contacted them, is whether or not they actually communicate with me clearly and timely. That will actually, that's a huge red flag for me. If I can't get a venue to communicate with me clearly and concisely about the dates, the money that we're talking about, I'll do a hard backup. And I won't even mess with them. Usually I won't even mess with them anymore because I don't know about you, but like I'm of a mindset of I've been doing this too long and I'm too good at my craft to beg for a gig. I'm not going to do that. And I'm also like, if you can't professionally, behave like, if you can't behave professionally to me by like getting back to me promptly and speaking to me clearly about the details that are involved with this gig, then it doesn't really give me a lot of hope for other things to come that we'll have to encounter together with a working relationship. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like as employer to employee type thing. I'm like, this really brings down my hope in you,
No, and this is like treat people like you'd like to be treated. I mean, you're hoping for the same kind of quality from acts, right? You want to work with people who are clear about what they're going to bring, what they do, etc. Timing especially is a big one, and also as an act, you don't want to be in a situation where you are miscommunicated to, and then there's a he said she said about who made the mistake here? Why did this act flake? You don't want to get you don't want to risk your own reputation as a professional because the venue was unclear about what was going on, right? So we all just want to be respected and treated with clarity and know what's expected of us, honestly.
Right, because if you don't have that really truly, like it feels as though you don't know what to expect for the future. And for me, I'm not going to go down a path where I see no end. I'm just not going to do it. In fact, I will say this. I won't say the place, but I took a gig at I'll just say a retirement home, and I already had this feeling that payment was going to be difficult. Mm-hmm. And it is. I played this gig in April, and I have still not been paid yet. And I messaged the lady today or the other day, and I was like, hey, listen, I still haven't been paid, and I've already messaged her once before, and she actually so it went basically, she messaged me and said, oh, hey, we loved having you out. Can we book you for another date? And I said, I would love to, but I would like to get paid first for this past date.
Yeah.
And then she was like, no, for sure. I'm sure it's on its way. That was a few weeks ago. Uh-huh. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm sending her a message saying, hey, I'm still not paid yet. And so that just comes into the play of, I knew this was going to be like this, and I'm definitely not going to tie myself up with another gig for you guys when you still haven't paid me for the first one,
Yeah. And the theme here is really, you're trying to make your venue, or in this case, retirement community, like a place that quality players want to play, right? So maybe you get people who are just like they'll take what they can get, they're new, whatever. You can probably get away with a lot more, but if you want someone who is professional themselves and is giving you the respect of being a professional act, you want to treat them in kind for sure, and be clear about what to expect when payment happens, how invoicing is done, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I don't worry about not ever getting this payment, but I already knew going in, since the communication was all over the place, that it was going to be like this. And so I'm not mad because I already knew that it was going to be this way. Now, if I didn't know that it was going to be this way, I'd be probably telling you a different story right now about how mad I am about it.
Yeah.
But it's just to be expected. Certain venues really struggle. So What's another good point though that you think that we should talk about today?
I think this one's more aimed at venues that are considering music in their establishment, who are thinking about, is it a good fit? And this is just kind of part of the planning of that generally. And this is a good thing to also like clearly communicate, both know who you're going to reach out to or who you're interested in taking on as performers, but also just to kind of like have your own vision for where does music fit in your venue? Like, is it a primary focus of the event? Is it background music? Is there a genre that fits or doesn't fit? Do you looking for like a certain kind of volume level to kind of play into what you're doing? Where are they physically going to be? Is there a place in your, and then how big a band can that have? Like, just be really clear about that for yourself as a venue, as a establishment, but also then clearly, then you, to the previous point, communicate that clearly in terms of like who you're speaking with and what expectations you're setting. I mean, like, I know some folks like, you and me, Christine, I'm sure we can kind of flex to a lot of different kinds of venues, vibes, et cetera.
Yeah.
I often ask the question as a performer, what's the vibe? What do you want to hear? Like, is there an era? Is there a like, do you want it like like upbeat? Do you want it like chill? Do you want me to take requests from the folks like that? Like, is that fit, or is that like inserting me into a dynamic that you don't want me in? These are just things that you should have an idea of what your ideal musician looks like. And, you might have to flex because if you have if you have a handful of musicians and they're all different from each other, but what is it about the musical, like, what do you want the music to do for your business, and how do you want to communicate that to the performers that would be doing that?
Right. And, I know what you said, like, where physically are you going to have, and honestly, I think that's so important. I jokingly say it because venues do this all the time. They put you in a corner. I'm like, nobody puts baby in a corner. And, just like, and then I laugh to myself, I'm like, they're putting you in that corner, where you just get squeezed in there. Like you're an afterthought. Let's just be real. You are an afterthought. And that's fine. As long as they pay me, I'll be an afterthought. I don't care.
Right.
It is a little annoying having to squeeze in and feel like that afterthought, but it's like at the end of the day, if I'm getting a paycheck, it is what it is. But
I mean,
it's fine.
Do you have like do you have a footprint? Like, do you know like your minimum size stage? I mean, I've seen the Ohio Club. That's pretty tiny in some places, honestly.
Yeah. No, the Ohio Club is small.
But I mean, like, so for me, I think that's like 6 foot by 6 foot is like what I like to say is a minimum. So I have enough depth to move backwards. But I played in one venue. I was like similar to what you're saying. I played in this one spot and I was right by the food table, and it was like a public, like a private party with like a lot of like general invitees. So it was like pretty crowded. I think I had maybe 4 feet by 6 feet if I'm lucky. Like the depth was 4 feet. I was right on top of people. I'm like, this is uncomfortably close to everyone.
Yeah. I've done that too. That's not preferred. For me, I have a rug that I use that gives me a perimeter of this is how much area I need right here. And I think my rug is 5 foot by 4 foot.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure because I got it off of Home Depot years ago. But that's as long as I have the space of my rug, usually I'm good. Now that's if I'm live looping it on, when I play the Ohio Club as a band, I don't need that much space. But yeah, as long as I have that, and I mean we're usually good. But I wanted to add actually another good point to it's kind of like the B section to your point. Because I noticed that you said sound in there. That would be a huge thing. Like if you are a venue that offers live sound and your musicians don't have to bring their own sound system, then you need to have a consistent sound engineer there that knows what they're doing. I mean, Rick, I know you haven't been doing this as long as I have, but I cannot even tell you how many times I've shown up to a venue and the sound engineer doesn't know. He knows nothing. He absolutely is just a monkey pushing faders. And I mean, I'm sorry. I know that's mean, but it's pretty frustrating when I show up and the sound guy's like, well, I'm not getting any signal from you. And I'm like, hold on, man. I told you at the beginning, I need this thing called phantom power. Mm-hmm. Oh, what's phantom power? And then immediately I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't know a single thing about sound.
Yeah, you should know that if you're a sound engineer, for sure.
100% should know that. If you don't know that, you need to go back and learn some basics.
And just for the audience members who may not know that, we're not saying you're bad for not knowing. Basically, it's some devices need power that's provided by the mixing board. I'm going to do my best to explain this. And so without that power, the thing doesn't work. A lot of microphones are like this. Some other devices as well. So you might be connected to one of the tracks tracks. What do you call it? Like the different channels? One of the channels on the
faders.
Yeah, faders channels. For that instrument connected to it, you need that power from the board that's going to power your instrument. That's just for the folks who maybe don't know what that is.
Right. And so, but that for me, that's a huge deal. If I have to walk in to your establishment and deal with an incompetent, personally for me, I'd rather not deal with a sound guy at all. I'd rather run my own sound and get everything rolling. I know what I'm doing. You're slowing me down. Otherwise, I would rather do my own sound than have to deal with a sound guy that has, a fragile ego and is not going to take direction. I mean, maybe that's just because I'm a woman and that has happened, I feel. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there's a lot of sexism in this field of work. I just will give you this instance specifically. I showed up to a gig. And it's a big venue. And they had a sound guy, and he's using a digital mixer. Mm-hmm. And I was ready. I had all my stuff set up, and I literally was waiting for 30 minutes because he couldn't figure out how to work the digital mixer. And finally, I looked at him. I was like, "Hey, is there anything I can help you with? Maybe I can't understand why this mixer won't connect to blah blah my iPad." And I said, "Can I ask you this? Are you connected to the wireless router inside of the mixer?" "Well, I didn't put one to the wireless. I didn't add a wireless router to this mixer. It's already got a router built in." I'm like, "Oh no!" I'm like,
which is saying I don't have the thing. It has the thing. That's basically what that means.
Yeah, and I was just like, I tried to explain to him. I said, "I do understand that all of these digital mixers do come with a wireless network inside of them that you should be able to hook onto. But I also want you to understand that all of them are garbage." Mm-hmm. They put in the crappiest version of that. So that way it's hard to connect to it. Not every single digital mixer I've ever used, you have to buy an external router so that you can create your own network and hook on, and it's more secure and the output is stronger. And I was trying to explain that to him. I said, but for right now, if you have there was a device that he had, I said, we can do this physically if that won't work. And he tried to argue with me about it. And luckily that day I had my Soundcraft board in the back of my vehicle. I said, "Hey man, I want to eat before I got to play." I was like, "And I've been waiting on you for 45 minutes. I said, "I'm going to get my digital mixer." I said, "I'm going to hook up to your line outs for these speakers." I was like, "And I'm going to run my own sound." And he got pissy and upset and I guess was talking to the owners. And I did. I just went and did it while he was talking to them. And the owners love me. And they walked over like, "Man, we're sorry." He's all upset because he thought he knew what he was doing. I wasn't trying to be a jerk to the guy. I was like, he was being a jerk to me. I was trying to help him, you know? So it stuff like that is just so important. That's a huge, it'll push me away from wanting to play a venue if I have to deal with cranky, dumb sound guys.
I mean, I will say, and this is, again, from the perspective of going to the venue, right? Check with your music. If you've got musicians you trust and you're trying a new sound system, new sound guy, check with how did it go? What's working? What's not working? Right? Because you don't necessarily have any knowledge of that. That's okay. But I played. I didn't play. Sorry, I went to watch a friend play. I mentioned before Connor Morrison, and he was playing at this place. I don't want to call it out, but this kind of establishment. Maybe they have an off night in San Francisco, And I'm there and I'm like, this is the worst sound I've ever heard. I can't hear any of the words the guy's singing. Every instrument's way the hell too loud. I'm like, this is upsettingly bad. And this is a venue that is known for music. I mean, like well known for music. And they're like, what the hell is going on here? I mean, hug your sound guy, honestly, God. So, cause I often, it's funny. I have this weird tick that like when I go see a live show on the way out, like a actual concert in a venue, I on the way back, I go to the sound guys and say, thank you. It sounded great. That's it. That's all I do.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because I've worked in IT. I mean, I've worked in tech and I've worked with IT people and I know that they only ever hear complaints ever.
Yeah.
And we all like to hear when we do a good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've heard a bad job and I know that they've done a good job. So that's all.
Yeah. It's funny that with that situation afterwards, these owners I know, they have two venues. And the owner messaged me and was like, hey, what do I need for this other venue that we've got? And I was like, okay, let's walk you through this real quick because you're going to need this and this because I know you're going to have me play there and I want it to be easy when I go. So that, you can be helpful. And like I said, I wasn't trying to be rude to that guy. He just wasn't listening and wasn't hearing it. That's just unfortunate though. But let's go to another.
Yeah,
actually.
hit us again, Christine.
Okay, this is big because I think you get what you pay for personally. If you're a venue that's just trying to get cheap entertainment, you're going to get exactly that. You're going to get some cheap entertainment. Offer a decent pay scale. Like, offer a good wage. Don't try to get your musician in there for literally a couple of beers and a free meal. Like, I personally don't think you're going to get quality acts that way, That's my personal opinion. Offer a fair, competitive wage.
I completely agree. I mean, and it's funny, actually, there's like a kind of twofer when you go back to the point about communication. Like there's a venue, because, I came from like three years ago, I was taking any gig that would say yes. And some of those were unpaid or whatever, or not very much money. And I've actually gone to some of them and said, I've gone to one venue in particular recently, and like they asked me, "Hey, are you free on this day?" And I said, I think there were 3 days in a row he offered me, and I was booked. I said, "Sorry, I'm not." I said, "By the way, just so you know, like my rate has become this now. Like I just established it as like this is what I need to be booked." And he didn't respond at all to that. So don't do that. Don't be passive aggressive. Don't pretend not to hear. And also, if you get a few people maybe all kind of nudging in the direction of you're not paying enough, maybe you're not paying enough too.
100%. Like I said, I do think you get what you pay for. And, if you think a musician is good, you should want to pay them, it's like, compliment us with a decent rate of pay, man. So
I'm going to shout out actually one. I'm going to shout out a venue that just for fun. This like I work at this barbecue spot, which is really funny for me specifically as a vegetarian. And I did a gig there, and they really liked what they did. So we're going to give you more money today, just like straight up. It's like
I love that.
You're reliable. You're awesome. Here you go. And they just threw $50 more in, and I was happy at the rate I got, but I was happier with the new rate. And Capello's Barbecue. If you guys ever see this, you guys are awesome. I appreciate that. This is a place that clearly values the vibe that they're trying to cultivate.
Yeah, it's funny. This happened a few years ago. One of the best compliments I ever got was I was at this one venue playing, and I got done, and the guy that pays me goes, "You don't look like a $200 girl. You look like a $300 girl." And starts writing my check out, and I'm like, and he's like, "This is your new payment." And I was just like, "Yes, I didn't even have to ask for a pay raise."
Can I ask? Do you feel a certain almost a little bit bad, like, man, I should have negotiated to get to that point before I got there, or do you just accept it and say, you know what, the universe recognized it?
There are some gigs where I have heard through the grapevine and that they just do not pay any more than what they pay.
Yeah.
And that was one of those venues where everybody I knew was making that same rate. And it just so happens though that the guy that had been booking me, it was my third time in a row playing there. This was like I said, a few years ago. He was just like, "Yeah, you're not like the other boys around here." Like, like, you're a little different from these guys. I'm going to give you this, So I was just like, all right, cool.
All right. Well, I'm going to bounce off this point into our next point. And you've already kind of touched on it. And I think it's going to probably come up in multiple anecdotes as we go, maybe, which is pay punctually. Like, don't,
Yes.
oh my God. Like, so I'm going to shout out my friend Gig XFRS, AEC, an entertainment company. He always like sends a check with that is delivered to the day that they perform. See, it's easy. You can. A lot of the stress of this business, as I'm learning, is just sometimes just getting paid. Now, a lot of the places I play are awesome. I've not had a problem with any of them. So I'm not saying this is like a systemic problem where I play, but I've definitely played at places. There was a gig I did in January, and I was working for an artist. I was playing at an artist collective, and they were supposed to throw me $100. I was like, whatever. It's January. There's no gigs, and it's so empty in the calendar. I'll take whatever. And I never got paid for that gig. And I just at some point said, okay, we're not. And I've actually stopped performing for that entire event. I'm just like, we're done. I've had too many of these kinds of stories with this particular event because, honestly, I'm like, sorry, I'm too high quality for you at this point. We can't be doing this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are. And that's okay. I don't want to give the long story of this, but I will say this. I've been playing in the bar scene for probably 15 or more years now. So, but this happened, I think, 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'll try to sum this up. I had a venue that told me, and we had text messages in exchange for like, hey, this is how much you're going to pay me. So we had verbal, written like agreement. Played the gigs. They paid me with a check. Check bounced. Okay. And then I'm like, hey, hate to say this, guys, but check bounced, yada, yada. Well, we'll pay you again or something like that. And this 7 years ago. And I just remember at one point, they're like, well, we're not going to pay you for that event. Actually, there wasn't a lot of people there. And I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like I played 3 hours. You owe me this money, And they straight up threatened me. They were like, we're not going to pay you and you better not say anything about it or we're going to sue you for defamation. And I literally screenshot what they said. And I was like, listen, I'd hate to do this to you. I really do. I want to warn you right now. I'm giving you a fair shot to do the right thing. I said, I have screenshot our messages. And I'm going to post them on my socials and let everybody know what kind of venue you are. I said, and I want you to know that I've never had to do this in my 12-something years of playing. I said, but I'm making an exception for you. And so they called me and tried griping me out on the phone. I just hung up on them. I made the post on social media. Oh my gosh, they went from... I never asked anybody to do anything about this in my behalf. They went from a 5-star beer garden to a 1-star beer garden within an hour.
Wow.
Of all of my followers, all of my people were like, this is garbage. And then next thing you know it, other people were coming out of the woodwork saying how they had done the same thing to them. And even their own brother messaged me and said, they did the same thing to me, wouldn't pay me for a whole week's worth of pay. So this all happened on Facebook and blew up. And that venue ended up, their corporate office called me or emailed me and said, we are so sorry about what happened. Please come by to this office at this time and we will have cash for you, yada, yada. And we're not even asking you to take your post down. Just please, we want to make it right. And I was like, unbelievable. Yeah. So, I'm a big, don't poke the small fish just because we're small, you don't mess with me. I'll bow up too. That just made me so mad for them to just not try to even pay me. But
I don't know what this says about me as a person, but this may be my favorite anecdote you've ever relayed to me.
Well, full of all kinds of surprises.
Oh my goodness,
these
that's
days.
fantastic. Well, I mean, it's horrible, but good on you. It's funny actually that when you were telling the story, I'm like, and here's a screenshot, and I have a friend who's a lawyer, and we're going to find out what exactly the legal options are. Like, I actually went that way. I didn't even think of the social media angle.
Well, I left that part out.
Yeah.
I have Christian.
Yeah.
And Christian did all that for me too. Christian's like, oh, I have a lawyer friend. And then like she ran through all the stuff and was like, he has no ground to stand on, blah, blah. And that's when I was like, I'm going to give you the chance to do the right thing before I humiliate you.
Oh, I think maybe there's an episode on contracts and invoices coming up at some point.
100%.
Yeah, we should probably do that at some point.
Yeah. The power of social media, man.
Yeah, no, that was, I mean, in that situation, well done. Yeah. All right, Christine, what's another point? Let's take us out of this.
Sorry. I feel like, I've been playing music for a long time.
No,
Crazy
you've got the stories. I mean, this is part of the
Oh.
fun for me. I said it many times in the podcast, like hearing these
Story
stories.
time. Okay, another good point. Actually, this is huge. Don't rely on your musician to be the only one promoting that they're playing. You know what? I'm going to give a shout out. Actually, there's a couple of venues that I play. Actually, I want to say all of them do this. All the venues I play do this. But especially, I'll name the Ohio Club just because I've been there so long. They always list who's playing every single week, every Monday. They'll give, just like I do, like a weekly lineup. They're like, hey, shout out on, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We got Christine on Thursday. We got this band on Friday and Saturday. And we got so-and-so on Sunday. And like, I love that because their social media audience has come to expect that, hey, I can go to their socials and see who's playing and kind of make plans for my weekend. And I think that's just a really smart, beneficial idea. Once again, you just shouldn't expect your musician to be the one doing everything,
Absolutely. I mean, and we've talked about this as a thing in general. Like, I think that as covers artists specifically, where we typically are more about augmenting a vibe, like creating a place, getting people to stay, drink, whatever. Like, that's kind of really our role, not to fill your restaurant, bar, whatever. There's obviously we want to, like, it is in our self-interest to also promote ourselves, right? So that's definitely part of it. But at the end of the day, it's a collaborative effort. Like, we're coming into a place. We want to take whatever you're doing and bring it to the next level. We don't want to take you from zero to viable. It's probably not a healthy way to think about the dynamic, probably.
Right. And just a little something I think to go with that piece is that truly as a venue, I really hope that you have something more to offer than just live music to bring in customers. Because I have been in this business for a long time, and I have played places that have come and gone. And the ones that are strictly relying on live music as their bread and butter to bring in customers, they never make it. I'm just going to be completely transparent. I have never seen a venue that relies heavily only on live music to bring people in, be able to sustain. You need to be able to offer either some good food or good drinks. There has to be something else.
Good atmosphere.
Yeah,
right?
good atmosphere.
Yeah, you can like sometimes you're just in a space and I just want to hang out here. This is a great hangout spot. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but then you're presumably going to pair that with some kind of food or drink most times.
Yeah. There's a cool little bar here in Hot Springs called the Underground Lounge. And I think they have some acoustic acts here and there. They just opened, I think, the past year, I think it was. Mm-hmm. But they're doing really well. And I think it's because the bar owner is super cool and they have good drinks. And I think this is just so neat, actually. He gives you snacks. It's almost like you're at somebody's house. He's like, hey, how's it going, man? You got this to drink? You want some Cheeto Puffs? And I'm like, yes, I do.
The Cheeto Puffs are back.
The Cheeto Puffs are back.
I've seen the Cheeto Puffs in person now.
No, they're good. And he has board games. So it's not just a cool place to go drink. You can actually go drink and play you can play Yahtzee. I played Yahtzee there, the game of life over there. You can hear some music.
Oh, the old school board games.
Yeah, man. Well, what's another good point if you're trying to get good acts?
It's fine. I'm just gonna like amplify part of what you just said in that story, which is consider what kind of perks you can provide for musicians that are just like cheap or free for you, but are going to be appreciated by them. I mean, a lot of times if you're a restaurant, your margins are such that like to give a meal at cost is a lot cheaper than giving cash, for instance. And you know that we all appreciate it, and especially a lot of what times we're like performing at dinner, performing at lunch, we do get hungry. We are human beings. We do require fuel.
We do like Cheeto Puffs.
We like Cheeto. What is it with the Cheeto Puffs? We're gonna have a sponsorship Cheetos. Apparently, if you want to sponsor Kicking Solo podcasts,
I'd be okay with that.
It might be at the Band of One podcast at gmail.com. Anyway, so I had to log into the account again recently. But basically, feel free to. I lost my own train of thought. So there's lots of little things you can do to make things more pleasant. I played at a place, and sadly this place has since gone out of business, and I'm bummed because they were around for a long time. I just like literally got at the end of their story, and they gave me my check in a little envelope with a sticker, and I'm like, that's cool. I don't know. I just like that. I put the sticker on my guitar case. It was like Jack's Restaurant. Hopefully they have other venues elsewhere around here, and it's just like that's a one of those little things that you can just. If it's cheap or free for you, but it's a nice little something for the musician, obviously we still want to get paid, and that's all that this is later in the list for a reason. But, these are the little things that just, make you feel appreciated, make you want to work with someone.
Oh, it's so funny. I'll tell you a very quick story. Sorry. It's just, there's a venue that I play at. It's called Rusty Tractor Vineyards. And
I love that name, by the way. I mean, this is my Bay Area bias. I'm like, oh, that sounds so quaint.
It's so cute. It's so cool. That big vineyard you can run around in, Well, there's this wonderful woman who books me there, and I just love her. I've known her for years. Her name is Lexi, and I play, and every time I get done, sometimes they'll have bottles of wine that they literally opened and poured like one glass or whatever, and they'll have, because they're a wedding venue, they usually have leftover flowers as well. And so, I don't know if this is okay to say. You might, you can edit this out if you need to.
I can always bleep it or something like that.
You're right.
The live audience won't tell on us, I'm sure.
She calls this the Let's Get Christine Laid package.
Oh, geez.
And she sends me home with a bottle of wine and flowers for Christian.
I think that's fine.
And she does it every time I play. So usually I go home with like either 1 to 2 bottles of wine, some flowers, and then if they have like a event where they're serving food or they have like a food truck that's got some leftover stuff, she'll send me home with all kinds of goodies. And I love that. I think that's such a perk, man.
Well, it's and these are the little things that make you feel like it. Oh God, there's this guy, Dan Ariely. He's a bit of an economist, and he's done a lot of really cool TED Talks, and he talks about the way that there's a difference between the personal and the professional relationship. You're much more likely to just go help a friend out than you are to like work overtime for your boss, right? Like it's just that there's and these are the things that kind of that blend that relationship more towards the kind of personal where you're like, hey, Christine, we had someone cancel, can you cover for us today, right? Like, and you're much more likely to say, well, I was going to take the day off, but shoot, I like you guys, so yeah, I'll do it. Like these are the things that kind of like elevate the relationship that can, that just makes everything smoother, honestly.
It's appreciated.
Yeah,
I mean, they take care of us and we in turn take care of them,
Yeah. Christine, one more point. Take us home. What's one last one we want to cover?
This has happened. Obviously, that's why I'm able to talk about it. Do not cancel your entertainment just because there are not enough people at your establishment. If you are in that position to where it's only going to work if people show up, I think it's okay for me to say that maybe you're not ready to have live music yet. Then because that you're number one, you're burning the musician. And that's not going to make them want to A, come back, and B, it's definitely not going to be a place that they're like telling their buddies this is a good place to play. Because nobody wants to show up to a gig and then them be like, well, nobody's here. We're going to cancel on you tonight. Well, I could have booked something else.
Yeah.
You know? So that's a huge one for me. And I've had that happen quite a few times. I've even had it where you play for like an hour or something and they'll be like, hey, nobody's here. Can we pay you half and just like cut you loose right now? And I'm like, I mean, I guess I don't really want to do that. I was depending on this much money, you know? So if you're in that position, that's not building, number one, that's not building like trust and confidence with your artist that you're booking.
Yep.
And as somebody who's going to a patron that's going to show up to your venue, that's not really giving a consistent vibe of music, because like, well, we don't know if there's going to be music tonight. It might be canceled because it's slow in here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, I asked you about this one specifically because I have not had this happen exactly. I guess I'm lucky, or different venues or whatever. I have had a version of that last variation, which is that, and the best version, I think, which was like, I was playing at a place, it was cold, outdoors, it was January, relatively cold. I'm sure folks in other parts of the country are like, lol, like Bay Area cold. But your hands get numb. It's still hard to play. And I had like a good crowd for the first 2 hours. And then it's like, I don't know, it's like probably 8 p.m. out of a 6 to 9 like slot. And there's like, the crowd has finally wandered off and it's getting pretty freaking cold. And they're like, you know what? We think that's the end of the crowd. We're going to pay you full amount. You can end early. And honestly, I was grateful for that version of it. I was like, that's fine.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that. No one's here. You're paying me full boat. Cool. That's fine. Like I provided entertainment. Everyone had a good experience. It's good. But yes, I completely agree with your point. I've not had the experience of like, having them cut off. I've been in places where I'm kind of shocked that they have music here because it's kind of dead in here. And that's not a comfortable feeling because you can kind of just feel the venue kind of drying up as you're there. But you know what? I respect the place for they made an agreement. They're going to pay me for it.
Me too.
And I come away ultimately with respect. And if they end up canceling music, okay, I understand.
Yeah, as a business though, that's on them. That's their not to sound like a jerk, but like that's their problem. As a business, you're supposed to budget in these types of things happening. Like, hey, it's possible that this could be a wash, So for me, when a venue doesn't consider those types of things and they try to cancel on you literally day of or during the gig, they want to try to cut you and only pay you half. To me, I'm like, this is not a business that's going to make it long term, because they obviously don't have a realistic idea of how to run their business. You know, so I mean that's a huge. That's a huge red flag for me. Something that you definitely would want to keep in mind as a venue if you're looking for quality talent. You know?
And I think the kind of these all come down to the idea that quality talent is like especially a full-time performer. Like someone who's relying on that income to do what they do. Right? If you want to attract the kind of talent that dedicates themselves to their craft completely, there's a different set of expectations. If you've got someone who's like kind of a hobbyist, that's like, well, I made half money for doing this and it's like not my main income, maybe you get away with that. But, if you're looking for professionals, maybe not.
Yeah. And so I can actually respect certain venues that are like, hey, listen, we can't offer you like this amount of pay because we are a smaller venue. But if they're consistent and still paying you that amount every single time, and I know that they usually have a good crowd, I don't mind taking certain concessions as far as like with pay as far as that goes, if I know that they're going to consistently at least pay me that minimum every time.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
But yeah, man, these have been some good points, Rick.
I hope so. I'm actually really curious if we get comments from venues. Actually, like this is sneakily aimed obviously at musicians. These are the things to look for. But like I kind of hope that this is valuable to venues, and like it would be really cool if we ever got a message. Hey, I'm a venue. I'm opening up music, and this was really helpful. Hey, please do give us that feedback. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, I would love that. I would love to hear that. I think not just with venues. I think this is, and I think I've told you this. I think a lot of the stuff we talk about in this podcast is actually just good general overall advice. I think this kind of stuff that we're talking about right now is great for maybe an entrepreneur that's just getting their business started, because this is just practical, good business advice to follow. And a lot of it just comes down to being a person of your word, making good on the things that you're saying you're going to do.
Treat people like you want to be treated. Work with the people
Yep.
create an environment that welcomes the people you want to work with. That's it.
Yep, I agree. Well, I got nothing else on this. I guess I'm waving the white flag of surrender. I don't have a white flag, but I got this right here.
Oh my God. You've been staring at that for like many
have.
minutes now.
I've been waiting.
I welcome that. That's okay. I support this. Yeah, no, same. I think this has been pretty fun. Like we're always trying to find like fun ways to like do topics in a like put everything in a more positive spin if we can. So hopefully this was a fun experiment for y'all from our perspective.
And if you enjoyed, I'll just tell everybody like I always do. Please leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice. A good one. A good review. And we would really appreciate it. Actually, you know what? I do want to make mention. If you leave a review for us on the social media or podcast platform of your choice, we're going to start trying to do, I think Rick will be on board with this.
Yep.
I'm speaking off the cuff. We're going to start trying to do a shout out to everybody that leaves us a review. So like, let's just say if Aaron or Mark or somebody left us a review, we at the beginning of the episode, we're going to say, hey, big shout out to blah, blah, and we'll read your review on the podcast and we'll give you a shout out about it, because we want to get the word out. We want to encourage you guys to want to get the word out with us.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening to the podcast, which we appreciate all of you, of course, if you're curious to get in on the fun on the video form of the podcast, you can check us out at YouTube. And you can also then know what color the flag was that Christine waved, because we didn't say it, we didn't narrate it, but it wasn't white.
No,
Also, we are doing an experiment as we record this episode. We do have, we think, a live audience. We're not paying attention to the chat as we record this. But if you want to just like catch us or whatever, subscribe to the channel, look for the live indicator pop up. We're going to talk to people before and after we record. Hopefully get some feedback from that audience. And it's just another way to kind of engage what we're doing. We're all in full on experiment mode. We're trying all kinds of different things, and it's been fun. But we're always up for new ideas.
Yep, indeed, we are trying to figure this out as we go. We're trying to, what is it, sink or swim, basically.
I mean, that's all I do. I'm going to go out into the studio room and try not to sink as I.
Sorry, I know. I'm such a child, honestly. I don't know why I did that.
Okay, with
All
that,
right,
I think we're good, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you as always, and we hope you're just stay safe out there.
You guys have a good day.
Cheers.